The Loaded Ladle is a kitchen that provides accessible, sustainable, and locally sourced free food on the Studley campus of Dalhousie University. We're a levied society within DSU and a registered nonprofit within Nova Scotia. We have two mission items. We take direct action to provide food services to students and to larger community as an alternative to exploitative and capitalist food services. We also aim to create education, action, and solidarity about food security, food sovereignty, and food justice. We are explicitly anti-capitalist, anti-oppressive, and anti-racist. We aim to engage in meaningful participation by diverse groups of people. We practice and promote care, solidarity, and community. We practice open and non-hierarchical decision-making. These values not only apply to the decisions that we make in terms of what projects that we want to take on, but how we function as a society, how we communicate with each other, and how we pass policies and make decisions. When we say that we practice and promote care, that does not mean only care through the free food that we serve, but care towards each other. What we mean by open non-hierarchical decision-making is that everybody that wants to be involved with the ladle has a right to do so. And everybody that gets involved with the Loaded Ladle has an equal standing in what we decide to do. For example, if you're a committee member pitching a policy, or if you're in your first year as a board member, you have an equal standing as much as other board members and staff members. We envision a food system that's based on care and solidarity, which opposes injustice. And this is what we work through and what we look at when we do longer-term visioning. Our mission, vision, and values inform our work. And when making decisions, we use these as checkpoints to ensure that we're keeping values. A little bit of history on the Ladle. We started as a working group under NSPIRG. We would do pop-up servings, guerrilla servings around campus, and serve free food to folks using donated food from local stores and farmers. In 2010, the Loaded Ladle was created. We were a levied society, so we finally had some funds and started creating regular servings. As years passed, we incorporated more programming such as solidarity servings, more servings per the kitchen, getting an actual kitchen itself. And right now we are an organization that has been alive for 10 years. We have 5 full-time staff and we constantly keep growing. In terms of our structure, the Loaded Ladle is a nonprofit cooperative with the province of Nova Scotia and the Registry of Joint Stocks. This means that we have certain responsibilities as per Cooperatives Acts of Nova Scotia. We're also a Type 1 society under DSU. This means that we receive student funding in form of a levy. This makes us accountable to the DSU and the DSU responsible to us. These existing in 2 entities allows the Ladle to be a standalone organization while still being a student-led organization. There are 4 levels of involvement at the Ladle. The staff are responsible for day-to-day operations at the Ladle, ensuring that the servings happen, coordinating volunteers and other administrative and logistical tasks. The volunteers help make servings happen. Without them, we would not be able to serve 4 days a week. More than that, they take on special projects, make art for us, or do other virtual volunteering, or get involved in committees long-term. They provide support where staff and board resources are limited. Community members are folks that we serve. Their feedback is what shapes the Ladle, and it comes through suggestions over the counter, solidarity servings through community, or just looking at what's going on in the community around us. Lastly, board members are responsible for long-term visioning and setting goals of the Loaded Ladle, as well as setting worker contracts and hiring staff people. Any working groups or committees are formed from the board. The board meets twice a month for 1.5 hours. This is where we provide updates to each other and make decisions all together, such as voting on policy or decide on new programming or a new budget line. The board co-facilitates meetings and takes minutes on rotation. This means that all board members at some point run a Ladle board meeting, invite others to join, and set the agenda. We follow consensus-based decision-making. This means that we strive for unanimous decision-making in all that we decide. If there's a disagreement, it usually means that we will discuss it until consensus is reached, and if not, come up with a new proposal. This is why it's very important that all board members show up to meetings and participate. Board members are asked to send regrets and read minutes if they cannot make the meeting. Beyond board meetings, we have committee meetings every month, and committees focus on Ladle work that's specific and allows us to do long-term thinking for different parts of the Ladle. Committees are ideally formed by board members, so each year is different. But some examples are human relations, anti-oppression, kitchen committee, finance, sexton, hiring. And all of these committees work in different ways. For example, hiring committee is a pop-up committee. It is formed when there's a hiring decision and one staff member and two board members set a job description, do outreach, do interviews, make a hiring decision, and then make a suggestion to the board that's then voted on by all members of the board. Human relations deals with anything that's HR related. They often set policies and do check-ins with staff members. The finance committee, which is currently a one-person committee, oversees our finances, make sure that we're transparent and adhering to budget. The anti-oppression committee, as set out in our policy, looks at Ladle's operations and makes sure that we're adhering to our values. The kitchen committee looks at meal planning, sourcing, and whatever is decided on for the year. Often, when committees make a decision, they bring it to the board, and then we all decide all together how to act on it. A few examples of board roles is working on visioning and strategic planning. We do this all together. Sit on a committee based on interest, or create one based on need. Create a project. For example, last year, a board member coordinated solidarity servings for out of the cold shelter. They just brought this to the board. The board okayed it and got some funds for this project and came into the kitchen and prepared servings for out of the cold either once a week or once every 2 weeks. Another example is a board member running a workshop series on food structures at Dalhousie, or in terms of creating a committee, creating a finance committee based on need and, again, interest. Like I mentioned, committee work often involves writing policy or making proposals to the board that's then discussed by everybody. Board is also asked to assist in the transitioning and training of a new board. Create community connections, since we are a community-led society, and read minutes, vote on Ladle Core, and check Slack messages. All of this should be no more than 8 hours per month. In September, the board and staff will attend training and visioning sessions. This may exceed the typical time commitment that's otherwise expected, but it allows us to start on the same page. So sessions will include, but are not limited to, Board 101, anti-oppression training, which is required by all board and staff, trauma-informed active listening. This is very integral to true consensus-based decision-making, and a visioning session that will be assisted by a guided visual facilitation. The visioning is something that we do every year to decide what we want to work on this year. The board members are also asked to read through all of Ladle's policies and constitution and other materials on how we function. Beyond this, board members are encouraged to attend conferences, get additional trainings, and this is paid for by us. For example, we've sent previously board members to Campus Food Security Conference in Montreal, or a food justice farm/camp in the United States. We've also provided food safety trainings to all board members that are interested. This is a valuable training to have when you're applying for kitchen work, and also if you want to run a project with us, this allows you to use the kitchen. Beyond that, if there's any training that you find that is allows you to develop yourself and also allows you to participate in the Ladle further, you're welcome to bring that to us. For example, there's a board member that's working on creating graphics for the Ladle. If that board member were to ask for a training on graphic design that's within our funds, that would be a valid proposal to take to the board. It doesn't necessarily need to be about food. And that's about it on board involvement. We will be sharing more content on what does it mean to be a part of the board, but if you have any questions, you're welcome to send it to info@loadedladle.com or DM us on Instagram or send us a message on Facebook. Thanks for watching.